Hey guys, hi here from the Art Gear Guide. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can tell by the title, in this video today I'm going to be talking about where parents go wrong when it comes to their kids and getting them involved in art. Now, before I go any further into the video, I just want to make sure that you understand this is not a finger pointing exercise or a blame game or anything like that. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about in this particular video is all stuff that I personally did wrong with my kids growing up. And so I'm hoping that either some of you guys might be able to resonate with what I'm saying, or hopefully if you've got young children yourself, you might want to take what I'm saying, take it into consideration, and perhaps try to implement what I'm saying with your kids going forward. But before we get into all of that, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this particular video, if you're new to the Art Gear Guide and you enjoy the content that you are watching, or any of the other videos that you can see on the Art Gear Guide YouTube channel, if you would if you would like to give any of the videos a like or subscribe to the channel, it helps the channel out tremendously. And I'm always being told, Harry, you've got to say this at the beginning of your videos, otherwise people won't like the videos and they won't subscribe to the channel. And the channel growing is something that I'm really interested in doing. So if you enjoy the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And also as well, if you do subscribe to the channel, I do a lot of giveaways, and in which case, whenever I do a giveaway, you will get a notification. You won't miss out on any of the giveaways. Also, it's really great at the end of the video, after you've watched everything, that if you have any comments or anything like that, leave them in the comment section down below and get a little bit of a dialogue going, because it's always really, really good, really beneficial as well to the community to get a conversation going in the comments section. The comment section is the gold area for me. This is where I think a lot of the values come from my videos, and that is the comment section down below, where all of you guys leave all of your opinions and your thoughts and your experiences all in the comment section down below, and it gets a conversation going. So without any further ado, let's get into this video. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is the type of set that we're going to be talking about. Now, like I said in the intro, this is not a finger pointing exercise, a blame game, or not. I'm not even saying that the companies that make these particular sets are doing anything wrong. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is, as I mentioned, Vicky and I, we obviously have the three kids. And when they were much, much younger, round about Christmas time, these types of sets would be available all over the place. And we would get one each for the kids as kind of like a stocking filler, or something just to sit on the side, on the couch to make it look good. Because when you see them opened out, they do look pretty impressive. There's a lot of colours in them. There's a lot of different, crayons and all the rest of it. We'll have a look at the set in a second. And visually, they look really, really good. And so we would buy them year in, year out for the kids. And literally, bearing in mind that we have two girls and a boy. So our eldest daughter, Niamh, is very artistic. Then there's Jude, who's very academic, not artistic at all. And then there's Amelia, who is into gymnastics, sports, and performing arts. She's doing a performing arts course at college at the minute. So the two girls are quite artistic. Jude, not so much. But when we would give these sets to them at Christmas time, by Boxing Day, they had the bits all over the place. They had no use for them. Now, the reason why I personally think these sets are or can be detrimental towards young artists is I'll show you why I think they're detrimental. But one of the things that Vicky and I did as parents with the kids was we tried to make sure that they had a chance to dip their toe into pretty much anything that they wanted to do in terms of after school activities, that type of thing. We wanted them to experience as much as they could, and I feel that, especially now that I am a little bit wiser now with regards to art and art products, that if you're gonna get your kids to take a tester in anything. Like for example, Niamh done archery and horse riding and a few other activities. Jude done hockey and basketball, rugby and football and rowing. And Amelia did gymnastics and other sporting activities. But not all of them stuck out in the activities. Some of them would go in, stay a couple of weeks, come back home and say, that's not for me. And that was okay. We felt that was okay. The reason why I wanted to do this video is because I feel that if parents make the same mistake that we did, you're not giving your kids, at whatever age they start out in art, a good start. And I'll explain that now to you. So let's take a look at the set. This one here is just in a plastic set. It's like just plastic. But you can get them in wooden box sets, and they cost a little bit more. These sets can range from £10 to £25, and like I say, some of them, the wooden box set ones, actually look really, really nice as well. If we turn it over onto the back here, sorry about the light. I know I've got to have this light, unfortunately, but I need to work out a way of stopping the glare on these glossy boxes. As you can see there, inside this set, there's 24 felt tip pens, 48 crayons, 48 oil pastels, 24 colour pencils, 12 watercolour cakes, 20 paper clips, 5 sheets of paper, which I'll talk about in a second, a liquid glue, a sharpener, HB pencil, paintbrush, paint tray, and an eraser. Inside the set came this paper. Now, if you've ever used newspaper, print paper, a lot of charcoal artists will use it just for sketching out things. Or if you're from the UK and you go into your local fish and chip shop and you ask for fish and chips, you'll have your fish and chips wrapped up in this paper, and that's the type of paper that they include in this set. So there's that. And bearing in mind, when parents get these sets for their kids, like my wife and I did, we didn't have pads of Bristol Vellum or Bristol Smooth or anything like that. We had no idea. So this paper that came with it, they either used that or sheets of printer paper that we had lying about. And I'm sure that's the case with a lot of other parents. I'll have some images coming up here as well, because sometimes this is a big set and the camcorder doesn't pick it all up. So as you can see here, along here, we've got crayons, wax crayons, oil-based pastels, colour pencils. Now the size of them is irrelevant because these sets are for younger kids. Little watercolour set here as well with a paintbrush down the side of it, eraser, sharpener, paper clips and a little glue stick. On the opposite side, we have some more wax crayons, some more oil pastels, some felt tip markers, and a graphite pencil. Now, I'm not doing swatching or anything like that. That's not what this is about. But I will show you the grade of these materials and the reason why I feel that they can be detrimental to young minds. Okay, so I've lifted out a few colours from the set from each medium. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the paper that they actually send through to you, because I think that's important to show you how the mediums work on this paper, because the whole reason that I'm making this video is because it's about parents who don't really know any better with regards to art supplies. So in the case of my wife and I, we were quite happy just to let the kids play with this type of paper or just give them a couple of sheets of printer paper. And so I think it's important that I show you how these particular products work on those particular surfaces. So I've just lifted out a couple of coloured pencils. I've just lifted out 2 colours from each. And I'm putting quite a bit of pressure down on this. I hope the microphone is picking it up. So that's the green. I'm not bothered about, you know, that whether there's color names on them or not or anything like that, because young kids aren't really interested in that. And then this is like a sienna color. And again, I'm putting quite a bit of pressure down. Next up, we've got the wax-based crayons. So again, a fair bit of pressure. And I'll show you the result in a second. I'll zoom in, you can see it in a second. Then next up is the red. And don't forget, so my wife has worked with children for about 33 years now, I think it is. She's a degree in child psychology. Like I say, she's worked with young kids about the developmental side of kids, the cognitive behavior, all those types of things that she's studied. And one thing that we know about younger kids is that they have a very, very short attention span. When they do something in like colored pencils or using crayons, the only thing that they're interested in is whether the color that they can see here is transferred onto the page here, and with as little effort as possible. They don't want to sit and scrub and scrub and scrub just to get this particular color to go onto this page. So these are all factors that you got to bear in mind. Next up is we got these oil pastels, which again I'm using heavy pressure here. And then the yellow. The pencil that's in there, it's just an ordinary graphite pencil, and the point that you see on here was actually done using the sharpener that's in the set. Now the thing about the sharpener that's in the set, the blade itself works, it does what it's supposed to do, but you can see there's a lot of flexibility on it, and when I was actually twisting and turning it, I could feel it like just about ready to snap in my hand, as is so often the case with these types of sharpeners. These really flimsy plastic ones, they always end up snapping or breaking and become useless. And if that doesn't happen, then the blade that's in them goes blunt very, very fast. Next up we have the felt tip pens. Now again, the size is irrelevant, that's not important. You can see they're quite a broad tip marker or felt tip. And here you can see the color saturation isn't too bad, but I've just like gone over it a couple of times on this particular paper, and let me just zoom in and let you see what's happened. So you can see there that the paper is starting to, because I've gone over it twice, the marker is taking the paper apart. So again, I'll show you. So it's just one layer, and as I'm going back over my second layer, bits of paper are coming away. Now this is the type of thing that happened, and it happens with printer paper as well, especially if you've got like just cheap printer paper lying about. The eraser is not too bad. It works, so I'm just gonna it's a little bit hard, scratchy, but it works. But you can see the effort that is required there in order to get these colours out onto this paper. And although this paper is worse quality than printer paper, I can assure you that the results here are similar to that you would get on printer paper. Okay, so clean piece of paper for the watercolors that's in the set. This is the brush that came with it. You can see there it is like nylon. I'm not sure if the microphone's picking that noise up. It's a terrible thing, but nevertheless, I'm going to show you. So we'll go into a pigment. And you can see there the pigment itself isn't too bad, but the applicator is terrible. And you know, I'm a relatively experienced artist, so I kind of know what I'm doing. But a young child coming up with this brush isn't going to sit and activate it. They're not going to sit and scrub the color and stuff like that and know what to do. And you can see that there's not very much that you can do with this type of brush. And so that is the range of quality that is in these sets. Okay, so why do I think that a set like this is detrimental to a child's development within art? I think it's, like I said earlier on, I think it's important that if you're going to allow your kids to dip their toes into different things, you should try to offer them the very best that you can. A set like this, in my opinion, and I watched it with my own 3 kids, is just going to turn them away from using art supplies. And it did my eldest daughter for a long, long time. The kids would get these sets by Boxing Day. They would have stopped using them. The crayons and all the rest would be all over the place. The paper would be ripped, as you've seen with the markers and stuff like that. The markers, if the girls used them beyond Boxing Day, the markers would start to run out, and the watercolors would just be a mess because they would be scrubbing so hard with the little brush that it comes with, and the whole thing is just, for a child using it, it just incorporates frustration. And frustration in a product, in anything, is going to make a child stop what it's doing, put it down, walk away, and go and try and find something different. And I just think that if we can, if it's at all affordable, give your kids a really good start in art. They may not like it, and that's fine. I'm not suggesting that every child should, partake in art. I'm not suggesting that for a second. But I just think that if you're going to give your kids art products, they should be decent art products within a price range for a certain age bracket that's going to allow them to, when they put a colour pencil on a piece of paper, they're going to see the colour instantly. They're not going to have to scrub. The paper's not going to tear and rip because they're scrubbing really hard at it to try and get the colour out of it. And so I've come up with a few different ideas. Now, I'm not suggesting that you're going to get 187 pieces, as is the case with this set, for like £10 or £15. I think this set was £15. So some of the wooden box sets, they, like I say, they can go for anything up to £25. I've done not a written review, but I've just done a written layout of all the different prices and what have you of alternatives that I feel, if you were going to let your kids dip their toes into art, these are fantastic alternatives, and your kids will get the absolute most out of them. And then that way, if they don't want to go down the road of pursuing art or anything like that, then that's fine, but at least you've given them a really good run at it. And they can, you know, say in their head, yeah, you know, I had really good art supplies. I did this, that, and the other thing, but it's just not for me. So when I'm talking about kids here, I'm talking about, because I know up to a certain age, you got to be very careful about art supplies and stuff like that for young children. So when we were giving these sets to my kids, they were ages like 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I think after around about 10, we stopped doing it because of all the reasons I've just laid out to you. So, for example, I've done 2 groups here. Kids aged 6 to 12. And so there's lots of things available for kids in that age group. There's like Crayola crayons. A 64 set is only going to cost you £7. The Faber-Castell Jumbo Grip crayons, a set of those, 12 of those, is going to cost you £6, and they are super, super pigmented. They're really, really saturated. I say pigmented, but I don't mean that they're, you know, they've got true pigments in them. What I mean is that they're bright and colourful, and that's all a child wants to see. I've done a review of the Giotto colour pencils from Lyra. Lyra is under the Fila banner, and this brand Giotto comes under that banner as well. They have water soluble crayons, a set of 24 for £4.50, and again, really super pigmented, really saturated. Doesn't take a lot to activate them. You just apply them as you would do, say, like the Countess Neo colours. So kids get to use them either dry, or they can activate them with, get them a couple of little watercolor brushes, and they're good to go. Stabilo, they have a trio thick short pack of coloured pencils. A 12 pack is like £5, but they're really good for little tiny hands. And I know I'm talking about age groups here from 6 to 12, but younger children could use those ones. Again, the other brand, Giotto Mega Chunky Colour Pencils, again, a set of 12, £8. If you wanted to go with the felt tip pens, Bic Kids is a 24 set. They're washable felt tip pens, and they're about a £5. Crayola also do super tip felt tip pens, 24 set, again, £5. And if you really wanted to get your kids into watercolours, so instead of these horrible cakes that's in this set, you could go to a company like Shuttle Art. They have sets on Amazon, like a 58 set of watercolour pans is like £12. You can get a slightly smaller set, which is like £8 or something like that. But they are really well saturated. Your kid's not going to sit and scrub at it and stuff like that. And if you get like a mixed media pad, which is really cheap, a Dale Rowney mixed media pad, or a Clairefontaine paint on pad, something like that would be fantastic for a young kid aged 6 to 12, maybe even younger than 6. That would be your call as a parent as to whether you would give your kids any of these particular products. You would have to check the details on those, and whether your children have got any particular allergies or anything like that. You would need to check that yourself, but ages 6 and 12, they're all good for. So then for teenagers, like age 13 to 17, so we're coming up to GCSE art, that type of thing. Again, a set of 10 Countess Neo Colour 2, which is the water soluble crayons, £15 for a set of 10. Now that may not sound like much, but they're water soluble, so those 10 colours you're going to be able to mix and match and get a lot more colours out of those. Mungio do a fantastic water soluble oil pastel set, set of 12 for £12. Mungio is really, really good as well in all of the things that they do. Again, Lyra Aquarelle crayons, slightly more towards the 16, 17 year olds, but the Lyra Aquarelle crayons, there's a 24 set of those for £26, and again, they are just like the Countess Neo Colour 2. A set of Giotto 36 set of colour pencils, De Natural. I have reviewed those. They're £23 for a 36 set. Excellent colour pencils, super, super saturated in colour. Faber-Castell Classic Red set, a 60 set of those for £13, or a 36 set of the Faber-Castell Black Edition, roughly about £14. If you go to Shuttle Art, they do dual tip markers, 88 set for £21, £20, in around that mark. But they're just like Copic markers, those types of things on a budget really. And Ohuhu do a fantastic set of 48 markers, dual tip, for £19. So there's lots and lots of alternatives out there to these types of sets. And yes, you might spend a little bit more money, and I believe me, I understand about finances and prioritizing and things like that. But if you do get into a situation where you're able to spend a little bit more on art supplies, and you want to try and get your kids into, you want to not get them into art, but allow them to dip their toe into art, these types of products that I've just spoke about, and there's lots more out there, this is just a small selection. If you grab a couple of them and give your kids those with, like I say, a mixed media pad, you are going to give your kids the best start in art that you can, and they will appreciate it later on down the line, especially if they choose to pursue art. I have this conversation with my eldest daughter all the time. She has, obviously because I get a lot of art supplies, she comes around, takes a lot of the stuff out of here that she needs, but I'm often apologising to her for getting her some of the cheapest coloured pencils I could get her when she was going through her GCSE art. And I would think, like, I thought back then spending £5 or £10 on a set of 36 colour pencils was absolutely scandalous, and that colour pencils just should not cost that much. But now here, jump forward 10 years or whatever it is that I've been doing this now, and I wouldn't think twice of spending £300 and something on a set of colour pencils if I had that money in my bank account. If somebody gave me that amount, I would buy a set of colour pencils for that price, and it wouldn't bother me because I know what I'm going to get with it, and I know what I can do with the product as well. So there you have it, guys. Like I say, this is not about blame. It's not about finger pointing or anything like that. These are all different things that my wife and I did. So it's just me passing on my experience of the things that we did wrong for our kids when it came down to things like art. So I hope this has been insightful for you. I hope it's been entertaining and interesting. If you've got any questions or you've got your own experiences that you would like to share, please do leave them in the comments section. Get a little bit of a dialogue going, a little bit of a conversation. We can all sit down and talk about the different things that we've done for our kids, or if you're just a new parent, the type of things that you might want to do for your kids going forward if you want to try and get them into art. If you're sat there doing some painting during the day and you've got little ones there with you, but you don't want them to be playing around with your really expensive paints or pencils or something like that, then this video might be for you. Like I say, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you've liked this video, please give it a like, and if you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and the next time I do any giveaways or anything like that, just means you get notification, you don't miss out on it. All the best, guys, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Bye.